Welcome to my tutorial for Contra Operation Galuga, and this is on hard mode, the one-hit kill mode, which is one-hit deaths. And it took me around 6 hours, 8 minutes to beat it on this mode. I had 3 previous playthroughs on normal. I beat the Switch version, normal with health bars enabled and perks. And then I did normal, the first playthrough I did was normal with perks and health bars enabled for this Series X version. And then I did normal with one-hit deaths on this version of the game. So I kind of worked up to it. And this is with perks enabled, and I'm going to explain some of the details about how I played it. But, I think I mentioned it took me around 6 hours, 8 minutes to beat according to the clear screen. Now, based on my recordings, it was around 7 hours, 9 minutes, but I think that's because when I add up all my recordings, it does include some small pause breaks that add up, when the game is paused. So the clear screen is probably more accurate, around 6 hours, 8 minutes. But, I had a lot of experience with the game, and I already unlocked a lot of the perks and things like that. So the 2 perks that I use for this whole playthrough are going to be the one where you keep your weapons, upon death. So if your weapons are level 2, you keep them at level 2. And I think the other one is that, like, when you pick up weapons, they're automatically level 2. So I got those 2 enabled. And, you can only enable 2 perks, so those are the 2 I recommend. And I'm using this character because I got used to the way he moves with the dashing and things like that and the double jumping. Each character can play a little bit differently, so that was just a preference. I did replay the first 2 stages for tutorial purposes, just to have better, cleaner runs of the first 2 stages. I thought it would look better for the tutorial because I played them a little sloppy in my initial run. So this tutorial is a demonstration, so I have added in some extra footage from some of my better attempts. I spliced in some of my better boss kills and things like that. I think there was just one boss that I spliced in, I think. It was a quick kill of one of the bosses. But that boss can, a lot of times doesn't go as well, so I decided to put the better footage in. So a big thing to explain is that what I'm doing here is you see that I'm constantly swapping weapons the entire time, and my preferred loadout pretty much for the whole game is double spread shot, which means having a spread shot in each slot. And of course I have the level 2 perk activated, which means when I pick them up they're level 2 weapons. So the spread shot really shreds bosses. It'll pretty much shred all the bosses super fast. The only character that can probably kill bosses faster that I'm aware of, I shouldn't say the only character because I didn't try them all, but Browny is a good character to unlock, but you need to use him in arcade mode. This is story mode, which there's very subtle differences between arcade and story mode, which I'll get into a little bit later. But Browny, if you use him in arcade mode, he can shred bosses really fast with double homing shots. But aside from the final boss, which dies faster with double spread. But what I'm doing here is I have 2 spread shots and I'm constantly swapping them. So it would be the equivalent of mashing the right bumper the entire time to keep switching weapons as I'm firing. But the way I do it is I have a controller that has turbo and auto fire on the controller itself. So I set the right bumper to auto fire that I can toggle on and off. So I'll toggle the auto fire off sometimes to be able to to try to configure my loadouts and pick up what I want when I lose my weapons. But for the most part, I have it going the entire time. It's just firing. Auto fire with the toggle, with the weapon toggle. So if you're mashing it manually and you don't have a way to set it to turbo, then it's going to be harder to utilize. So I would probably recommend using it the most when you're actually, can stand still for a moment to do it when you're firing on a boss, because you'll get a lot of extra damage that way. It may be hard to do that continuously while you're playing through all the stages, though. So something to consider, but it does pretty much double your damage because you'll basically by switching weapons so fast, there's no buffer or delay. So by switching weapons super fast, you're essentially firing the same weapon twice at the same time on screen, or whichever 2 weapons you have equipped. You're basically firing them both at nearly the same time, and so you're pretty much doubling your shot output. So that's a huge thing to know about playing it this way. You know what I mean? It makes a big difference. So I'll be doing that the entire playthrough. And not too much to explain with the first stage, as it's pretty basic. This second stage is just auto scrolling, and if you stay mostly on the right, the right end of the screen, you can clear out a lot of stuff with the spread shot. Ideally, I would want to have double spread shots, but it's very easy to lose your weapons by, accidentally grabbing the wrong weapons, which is a big threat on this stage since you're constantly moving. You can't stop and carefully try to choose what you want as easily. Basically, what you want to do is when you get the weapons that you like, you want to kind of stay on the right edge and, jump towards the right side of the screen, because the weapons are when the weapons hit the ground, when you shoot them out of the pod, they're gonna hit the ground and they're gonna scroll to the left of the screen. So you want to stay on the right. So make sure that the weapon is away from you, and it goes in the other direction. That way you don't get them. But it's still very easy because when you're jumping and shooting, of course, you're gonna accidentally hit the pod midair and grab the weapon in the air. That's the biggest threat, and that's usually what fucks me up. So I wasn't able to really output the maximum damage that I wanted to, but you just got to kind of roll with whatever you get, Now in story mode, there is a trick I found that I learned after I beat the game pretty much, is in story mode, when you get to a new level, it saves the game. So if you go out to the title menu and restart the level through your save file, you will start the stage with all your default lives replenished, and you'll have the weapons that you got to the stage with. So let's say I wanted to get my double spread shot back. I could just go out to the title screen, reload the save, and I would have my default lives replenished, and I would have my double spread back. So that is something you can do for the start of each stage. If you had good weapons at the beginning of the stage, you can reload that way and get them back. You can't do this in arcade mode, at least not in that fashion, so just be aware of that. Also, I think story mode may replenish your lives anyway when you get to a new stage. I don't know if it carries over how many lives you had. It may just replenish them and start them at default, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that again. But either way, just reload from the title screen. You'll have your default lives. Now, the thing with hard mode is, one of the biggest things about hard mode is that it eliminates checkpoints from the stages, meaning you have to beat the stages in one go, and the stages can be 7, 8, 9 minutes long. So it can be tough with one-hit deaths to survive for that long. So for this, it's basically just learning a very simple pattern. When he does the bullet spray, you jump over it, and when he does that canister that he launches out, you kind of just jump over it, and then it's going to come back the other way. You jump over it again. You just got to get used to the timing. It's pretty simple. I'm mainly just spraying the screen constantly and staying mostly on the right side for most of this stage. But yeah, hard mode will also decrease the amount of lives you can have. I think on normal you can have 7 or 9 lives because I unlocked the perk that gives me extra lives, but you don't have to equip it. It's like a passive upgrade that's automatically applied. So I think normally I would have 7 or 9 lives on normal, but since it's hard, it cut me down to 4 lives. So it does cut down your starting lives, even with the extra lives earned. It still cuts them back quite a bit. So at most, you can only have 4 lives to start with. Of course, you can earn some 1-ups during the levels, which can help keep you alive. Most stages, you'll probably earn at least one 1-up or sometimes 2 1-ups. So that is part of your pool of lives that you can count on, when trying to survive a stage. But there are no checkpoints on any of the stages except the final stage on hard mode. And that also applies the same way in arcade mode as well for this. I tested it in arcade. I just did a run of one-hit death on arcade mode hard with Browny, which only took me a little bit over an hour, much easier run. But keep in mind, by now I'm pretty familiar with the stage layouts as well. So after playing this, this took me a while. And the previous playthroughs I did on normal, so pretty familiar with the game. But see, it is easy to get hit. The biggest problem I have with this game, or one of them, is that the bullets really do blend in with the explosions and shit. And you see I'm playing sloppy here, and I took 2 deaths in a row, which is really bad. But the bullets really blend in with the explosions in the backgrounds. They're not stand out much at all. So I'm constantly getting blindsided by shit. I'm also playing 5 feet from a 65-inch TV, so I have to constantly turn my head to see what's on the other side of the screen and things like that. So I would have preferred to play this on a small monitor, but it is what it is. I mean, it's good enough. I learned it eventually. It's just it would have been a little easier to see everything. So here I got spread with homing missile, which is a good combination with the weapon swapping, because the homings do cover, they do go after a lot of the enemies and clear them out. They're just weaker. I would have preferred to have double spread shot, though, but I keep getting the wrong weapons, obviously, because it's really hard to keep your weapons, with all that shit floating everywhere. While you're jumping and shooting, you're going to get blindsided by a weapon power-up, probably, and grab it in the air. So my trick with this stage was just to survive it by staying mostly on the right side and clearing shit out, and then for the boss, I just pretty much cashed my lives in. It's a cheap fucking trick, but I didn't really learn how to dodge a lot of the boss's attacks. I would just cash in my lives, because I wasn't going for a 1cc or anything. I was just going to beat the mode, so I just play by the rules of the mode. I'm not really trying to go beyond that. So I pretty much just cash my weapons in here, and I kind of just keep jumping to increase my chances of not getting hit, but I get hit anyway. So it is cutting it very fucking close. So not a good demonstration on how to fight this boss. Now, if I had double spread shot, the boss would have died a lot faster. But, this stage, it is hard not to pick up weapons that you don't want. So I think I covered most of the basics. You do have a fixed shot, which I recommend using, where if you hold the right trigger down, you can stand in place and just rotate your gun. You should be using that a lot to take out certain things when you're not running through the stages. So this was the first stage to give me trouble. This stage took me 48 minutes, and the stages that gave me the most trouble were stages 3, 4, 6, and 8. Stage 6 took me around 3 hours, 20 minutes. That was the hardest one. But yeah, this one took me 48 minutes, so this was the first stage to give me a lot of trouble. It's a long stage, and, there's a lot of little things that can hit you that makes it easy to fuck up. So here you see me starting with just my pea shooter. Now, had I known, I could have went out to the title screen and started with, 2 weapons at the beginning of the stage. I didn't know that I could go out to the menu and go through the file like that and restart with my weapons all powered, having my weapons. So that probably would have made it a lot easier. Because this initial part, I would die a lot, and there's no way to restart. There's no quick restarts, which is a shitty design, if you ask me. I think they should have a retry. To be able to retry the stage fast, because the thing is, if I lose a life here, I'm going to be committing suicide and restarting the stage that way. So I got to wait around till I lose all my lives, and it's just a waste of time. Because a lot of times I die in the beginning when I had that pea shooter, and of course I don't want to play the rest of the stage if I die within the first minute of the stage. It's just not worth it, because it's much easier to fuck up later in the stage. But it's just a little bit of a rough start when you just have just the base gun, with no starting weapons. I actually have the dash button mapped to back paddles on a controller so that I can hit them without even using the face buttons. So it is definitely more convenient to do it that way if you have a controller that does that, like a Scuff. For this game, I was using a FlyDigi 4, I believe it's called, something along those lines, Apex 4, but it has great back paddles on it, so I was able to utilize that. I also don't use the D-pad for this game. The analog stick is a little bit more sluggish when you want to crouch, but aside from that, I find the movement better than using a D-pad for the most part, at least for me. So I was using the analog stick, and I was using full aiming with the analog stick as well, 360 aiming. It gives you more nuance in how you can aim your shots, so it's pretty good. So normally I would have double spread shot if I could for this first boss, but this still will destroy him very fast with homing and spread. Mainly staying under him, just fan out your bullets a little bit to clear out the enemies. That's about it. Very easy. He may try to slam down the ground as well, so you may not want to be directly underneath him, but very easy. And you see now I have 5 lives. I already earned a 1-up at some point, maybe for killing that guy. And I'm kind of just, I'm not inching the screen, but I'm kind of just making sure everything is cleared out before I move forward. So now I was trying to configure my weapons, but I ended up with double homing, which is not a bad setup, but I think at this point I didn't realize that the double spread shot was the best. I think at this point in the game I was still trying to go for double homing shot. Now the reason you saw me using double spread shot in the first 2 stages was because I replayed the first 2 stages for the tutorial once I had the knowledge that double spread shot was the pretty much the most powerful setup for this character. So for a while I was going with double homing shots thinking that was the best loadout. And it is very good. But double spread shot is what I would have went for. Now this is one of the more dangerous things in this stage is these dumbass guys that pop out of the waterfall and they throw out these black bombs that kind of spread out like 3 at a time, and they're very hard to see against the backgrounds a lot of times, and it's a pain in the ass. I often get hit by them, so that's why I lost a life. You got to try to be really careful, but you can't really take them out because they hide, so you got to wait to take them out, or just dodge the shit that the bombs that they throw out and just keep moving. Obviously, you don't want to stand on this bridge when it's electric. You got some handholds here. Now, I would have gotten that spread shot, but like I said, I didn't know at this point how good double spread shot was. So I'd recommend going with dual spread shots. But I mean, this is also a good loadout. Just keep in mind, it is going to be a little bit different if you're playing, without perks, and if you're playing without using the weapon swapping trick, which you really don't need a rapid fire controller to utilize it, but you may not be using it the whole time if you're doing it manually. Because with the way I'm playing, it does kill shit a lot faster, so you can get shit done quickly. See, I got blindsided again by that mortar shot, those bombs. That's pretty much what always gets me on this stage. And then I died from something stupid. I shouldn't even gotten hit by that, but the biggest problem for me is those little mortar shots. Usually I can pretty much go through the stage without dying, aside from I'll usually die by at least one of those mortar shots. That's the part that always gets me. But as long as you get hit with a few lives, it makes it more manageable. This boss can be kind of tough, but if you want to kill it faster, you just aim for the head, and the more damage you do to its head, the faster it'll die. But you do have the option of taking out its claws so that it has less attacks that it can do. But I usually like to just try to go straight for the head and just kill it as fast as possible. That's the main part I'm aiming for, but I mean, I'll shoot the claws a little bit too, but I mainly just want to take it out. I usually try to speed kill shit. I don't really like to fight the bosses for too long. So you're mainly just dashing to dodge when it slaps the ground down, Very easy. Fireballs and things can be tricky because it leaves fire on the ground, so just try to be aware of that. But as long as you get hit with a few lives, it's not too bad. But there's a lot of shit to dodge. So it can be tough. You got to just try to improvise. I almost lost another life. I mean, it was getting close, but it's not too bad. If you get there with a few lives, you can still do massive damage because of the weapon swapping. So it's not too bad. I may also do a commentary on my Browny playthrough on arcade mode, since I got a request for that. I may do another commentary on that, but it's not going to be that much of a tutorial because it's a lot easier with Browny. And I also knew the game better, but you just shred bosses really fast with that character when you do the weapon swapping. So stage 5, I think I might have beat stage 5 on my first try on this playthrough. Or stage 4, actually. No, this one took a few tries, I think. I think this was one of the harder ones, if I remember right. Yeah, stage 4. This one took me 55 minutes, so this one was actually a little bit harder than stage 3. So, yeah, this is not the stage I was thinking of. Stage 5, I think I beat on the first try. That's the next stage. And then stage 6 took over 3 hours. That was the hardest stage. For me, anyway. But you can see the perks that I've been using here. I use auto level up, and I think the other one is like weapon retention or something along those lines. So I show the game over screens here, but it's not too important because this tutorial I kind of spliced in some scenes, like I said, to try to get better footage. But the level ones themselves are all those are pure. Those aren't tinkered with or anything like that. But I did edit in one boss fight to show a good boss fight for stage 6. So here, you can take the top route. Just make sure you clear out the turrets. And guys, a lot of times with some of these later stages, this is where I really start kind of inching the screen and clearing shit out, which is a big strat for a lot of old games, when you want to play carefully, especially if you don't know what's coming up. Now, usually I don't want this C weapon, even though it does a nice explosion that enemies get caught in, like a fucking, I don't know what the hell it is, but it's like a black hole, but I don't really like it because it makes it so fucking hard to see bullets and shit. So I really don't like that fucking weapon for that reason. So I usually try not to get it. So here I got homing and just regular machine gun, which is alright. I mean, ideally, like I said, I'd want the double spread shot, but you're kind of just taking what's available. See, I could have got a spread shot there, but I missed it. I usually miss that weapon pickup because I'm just busting through. Mainly, I'm firing up and a little bit up to an angle, diagonally to try to clear stuff as I'm moving up. And, for stuff like that, I can't explain it that well because it's really not that complicated, but it's just a matter of getting a feel for the stage and how you're able to move through the stage, safely. After doing it enough times, you'll realize, when and where to jump. You'll know that you don't have to stop and you can just keep going, once you get a rhythm down. Because the stages don't change, The only thing that changes is how you play each time. So the more consistent you are, you'll find paths in these games, where the game will behave as it's supposed to for the most part. So, that's just practicing. I will try to explain some of the stuff that's not as obvious. So for this guy, he only has a few attacks. If he does that, you're going to duck, obviously. Those are the higher flames that he does. For these, you just move close to go under them. Those bombs or whatever they are. But aside from that, he does a close range flame as well, which if you're out of range, he can't hurt you. See, very easy. I like to stay kind of far away from him on the other side, especially if I have double spread shot or spread and homing. It kills him pretty fast. I just recommend that if he gets too close to you, jump over him, like dash over him. Jump, dash, and get to the other side fully. And then you have plenty of time to react to whatever he does. He only does like 3 attacks. So you got plenty of time to react to those. So now, as long as you're shooting up and to an angle a bit while you're jumping through and grabbing these bars, nothing's really going to fuck with you too much. Especially if you got a little homing going on. But either way, spread or homing is going to clear out most of these guys without much effort. These guys will try to take you up to the screen, and I think if they get you to the top of the screen, they'll kill you. But I almost never get grabbed by them, so I didn't really experience that too much. I think if they grabbed me, I got out of it really fast by shooting them or something. But so clear out those 2 turrets. Now move down. Immediately take down the guy that's prone down here. Get him out of there first, and then deal with the left turret. And now once the spikes go back, you're going to do 2 drops, 1, 2. And that will get you through that. That's all you got to do. And now you're going to try to drop down here as fast as you can. Clear out what you can. Don't grab the F. I didn't want that. That's the flame, and that's really bad with weapon swapping because it messes it up. Now, like I said, the hard part about the way I'm playing is that I got to toggle off the weapon swapping since it's set to auto fire. And then I got to use the left bumper to try to switch my weapons. So it's dangerous. So for this, it's just a timing thing. Now for these, you can walk on the ceiling and just time it. Just look at what I did as far as the timing goes. It's kind of hard to explain that kind of timing stuff. I don't have any great tips for that aside from just watch what's going on and just analyze it. See, now, I for some reason, I didn't even grab the bar, so that fucked me up. Usually you automatically grab the bars, but I must have hit it at a weird angle, so I lost a stupid life on that. That was a dumb way to die. So for this part, you want to wait for those middle spikes to go all the way up, and then as they're going back down is when you're going to start going across. But it is hard to explain the timing on that. There is a timing, though. It's kind of tricky, but there's a way to time it. With those middle spikes that go up, you want to wait for them to go up all the way, and then as they're going back down is when you go across. But it's hard to explain. So now I have 4 lives and I have double spread shots, so I'm just going to fucking melt this boss, as you'll see. This is another boss I didn't really learn how to dodge properly. I just get under it and shoot straight up, and it's kind of like whatever happens, happens. I try to maybe dodge a little bit, but I got so many lives, I know I'm going to shred it. So again, I'm going for the kill, so I'm not necessarily going for the cleanest run. I just want to win. And that's it. Very easy. Just get there with some lives and use the double spread shot if you can. Double spread shot shreds it way faster than the double homing shot did. This is where I learned that the double spread shot was the best weapon combo for this guy as far as tearing through the stages. Now with Browny, it's a little bit different. Like, this double spread is one of the best, but sometimes his double homing shot is even better for most of the game. So, but for this character, I think double spread is the way to go. Now this is a very easy stage that I beat on the first try, and there's not going to be too much to say about it, but I will say that, like I was trying to explain earlier, the most dangerous time period for me is when I'm trying to grab my weapon configurations. That's the most lethal period. That's where I die the most, because I'm trying to get my weapon configuration right and shit is shooting at me, So because I'm playing on such a large screen, I can't see everything. I'm looking at where my character is, but I got to turn my head to see where the enemy is, and by the time I do that, I can easily get shot since the bullets don't really stand out. So that's a lot of times where I die, is when I'm trying to get my weapon loadout right. And like I said, it's a bit of a pain because I got to toggle off the... I have the weapon swapping on auto fire, so it's going the whole time without me holding anything down. But I have to toggle it off, and then I have to swap back. I have to use the left bumper to toggle to the weapon I want to get rid of, and then I pick up the weapon I want. But it takes a little bit of time. I got faster with doing that, but it's not easy to do when shit is shooting at you, So you'll probably see me die on the 6th stage while I'm trying to get my weapon loadouts right. Most likely that'll be one of the areas where I probably die. But yeah, this stage is similar to the last auto-scroll stage, where I mostly stay all the way to the right side. The idea here is that whenever you see turrets or any enemies, you want to spawn kill everything pretty much as soon as it appears, which is similar to what we did on the previous stage, but you want to try to spawn kill shit as soon as it appears, because if it can't get a shot off, you'll never be in danger. You can actually touch enemies on this stage as far as being in the same... Like, you don't die from touching them, so... I think in the regular stages you can't even touch the enemies, you'll die, but in this, I don't think it matters. You can drive right through them pretty much. But make sure to dodge the weapon pickups. That's going to be one of the biggest threats. Especially if you already got double spread shot. Remember, you can load your save at the beginning in story mode and get your original weapons back that you got here with. So yeah, I'm using a double spread shot. Like I said, I'm pretty much clearing out most of the shit as it appears. I'm just trying to spawn kill everything. You don't want turrets to be around for too long because they fire faster on hard mode. So everything will attack sooner, I believe, in hard mode. So you don't want enemies to linger on the screen for too long. So that's the main idea, is just clear them out, as quickly as possible. It'll minimize any dodging that you have to do, but I do like to jump a lot just to be careful, because sometimes you don't know if an enemy shat out a fucking bullet. They tend to, the bullets tend to diverge on your last location, so it is good to move up your, if you're not sure if an enemy fired, just keep moving, and that will help. Especially how to do that, because, like I said, my visibility is not great on a huge screen, sitting too close to a big screen. So I had to make some assumptions, as far as I had to be a little bit extra careful, dodge more, because I can't really see everything at once on the screen. So I just compensate by doing that. But I took a death there. You really don't have to, but it is easy to die a few times in the stage. For this guy, just try to get all your fire on the guy, because the sooner you take him out, I think the less phases you have to do of this little train sequence. So you do have to do this part. In story mode, you get these little cutscenes and shit like that. Arcade mode gets rid of most, if not... Well, most of the cutscenes. I think there's still a few, for some reason. I don't know why. But arcade mode gets rid of most of the cutscenes. I think some of the bosses may have extra patterns, and there's maybe a few differences there, but the checkpoints are the same in arcade mode. You can't reload the save in the same way like I do here with story to get your weapons back. I think you can quit out before you lose all your lives, though, and get your weapons back that way, somebody told me. So maybe that works for arcade mode. I didn't test it. So, yes, but arcade mode really isn't that much different. It still saves, so. The good thing about arcade mode is you can use all the characters you unlocked, where story mode limits it for some stupid reason. So now you actually fight the boss. The main thing with this guy is to not do that, but the main thing is just to try to be on the other side of him and keep shooting him. But I played it really fucking sloppy. But because I had double spread shot, I was able to kill him really fast anyway. So now it was just a matter of surviving and trying to maybe earn a 1-up and stay alive, which I was able to do. But yeah, I don't have any great tips for that boss. I really didn't learn that boss too well. I've done a lot better on it in previous runs, but that was definitely not it. So for these green guys, these green walking mechs, I try to kill them as soon as they appear. I get really close to them and point blank them, because you'll do more damage when you're really close to an enemy. So, it crams all the bullets in at a super high fire rate when you, kind of similar to Mega Man games, but, the closer your character is to the enemy, the more damage you can output. So, I try to do that when those green guys appear, because I'm able to touch the enemies without dying. I can get right under them, and kill them pretty fast. There's times when I'm like right underneath them firing straight up, but I don't always do that. But you can. But I try to get real close to them. The boss of the stage is going to be very easy with double spread shot. You might want to have a life or two so you can hold out a little bit, but it will die very quick. But yeah, basically just trying to spawn kill everything, clear it out as it appears. And of course, like I said, the weapon power-ups are always going to move to the left side in these auto-scrolling stages. So if they hit the ground, just be ready to jump over them, because you don't want to get, that can really fuck you up getting the wrong weapons. That's one of the biggest threats in some of these stages, is getting weapons you don't want. Soon we'll be actually fighting the real boss of the stage. And you'll see I have somewhat of a safe spot trick that I found. So that's useful to illustrate. But yeah, this was a very easy stage compared to some of the others. So now we have the main stage boss, and what I'm going to do is move all the way to the right corner, right edge of the screen. And now I'm just, jumping and firing at the head constantly. And I just keep jumping, and I stay all the way against the wall of the screen. And a lot of times I get lucky and not take damage, but you may get hit, but you're going to kill the boss really fast if you do this. So if you do take a hit, it's not a big deal. But you're pretty much, by staying all the way on the edge of the screen, you're avoiding all the boss's attacks pretty much, aside from when it spins around. So there's very little for you to have to really manage when you're all the way on the edge. So aside from that, it allows you to point blank the boss because you're cramming all the bullets in close to its head. So it's pretty much like the optimal position for that boss and the best way to deal with it. So that's all you really got to worry about. So this stage should be kind of like a free kill. It shouldn't be a problem. But this next stage took me around 3 hours and 20 minutes to beat. And this was the hardest stage in the game for me, and the most fucking annoying. I really don't like this stage. But I'll try to break down my strats. But yeah, this stage is just irritating because there's always something, especially getting blindsided on a big screen. Like I said, there's always some bullets and shit that hit me when I'm trying to look at something else. It's mainly like, because the stage is so long, it's really those fucking blindside kills that fuck me up. It's kind of fucked up because it's like, it's not really like, normally it would be more skillful type of shit that would get me killed, but it's like, when I die, it's for some stupid shit, you know what I mean? Once I learned the stage, of course, I had to learn the stage, which took hours, but once I knew the layout, it was like I would just die from stupid shit because I was looking at another part of the screen, So clear out all these things first, clear out all these guns and turrets and all that shit. We're going to take this stage a lot slower. We're going to be inching the screen more with this stage. So just take things out and move down. You see what I'm taking out, so I don't really have to go over it. get this spread shot. So you're going to have spread and laser. We're doing weapon swapping still. So now remember, I didn't know I could reload my save and start with my starting weapons. I should have done that. But you're going to see me doing it from a naked start here, so which makes it harder. So take out these guns and just be ready to move because they fire quickly. So walk to the left here, then walk to the right here and take out all 3 of these guns. Take this gun out, and then we're going to drop down. Avoid the fire weapon. Don't get that. Now just start moving to the right. Be aware that those golems are going to shoot bullets sometimes from the left side, so just be ready. Dash across. Kill this thing before moving on. And now we're just going to be dashing. Get to the gap. You can stand here. You don't have to crouch. Now keep dashing. Now get to the end. Now for this part, I'm going to be getting ready to pick up the homing weapon on the other side. So you didn't see me do it there, but I actually toggled my weapon swapping off and shit before doing all that because I wanted to be ready to grab it. So now I have the weapon combination that I want for this part of the stage, which is homing and spread, because I can't get double spread this early. So this is optimal for me for what I can get. So again, moving slow. Just be aware that these enemies will shit out bullets and it will blend. So, you know, be ready to move. But try to kill shit before it fires, if you can. And we're inching the screen. I like to make sure all the enemies are dead for a lot of these parts. Because notice that when you kill the golems, they don't die. They collapse to the ground and then they get up a second time. So I like to make sure that they're completely dead. You got to kill them twice basically to kill them. So here I'm clearing out enemies before I move across. I'm just taking it slow. Dash and crouch there, get ready, and then as soon as the flame dissipates, just jump twice to get up there. Flame dissipates, jump twice to get up there. That's it. As soon as it dissipates. Now make sure you're shooting up as you're going across here because these are one of the most annoying obstacles in the game, these green bubble things that fire bubbles downward. So now I have to kind of configure, and I was able to do it quickly, luckily. But I had to get my configuration right. That's one of the parts where I usually die because I'm trying to get my double spread shot set up. And I have to take the weapon swapping off and and figure out what's going on. So here, just kill these things and move along these handbars, and you won't have to deal with the bubbles. Just slowly move across and inch these things out. If they fire, then you're going to have to do some dodging while you're on the handholds. But they usually don't because I kill them in a slow way like that, and they don't get a chance to shoot. I mean, I kill them fast, but I'm moving slowly, if that makes sense. So as you go here, you're going to kill this turret. Now just get on these handholds. You'll be safe. Now dash across and get to the edge of these bars, and you'll be safe. Now drop down here and dash midair and get across there. Now kill this guy. Make sure he's fully dead. Now dash across here to the next gap. And when the enemy is down, you can dash over his body, but he's going to get back up. So a lot of times I fire behind me while I'm doing all that. So now here, get to the edge of the wall and just fire. And you'll take this out. It's one of these shitty reflection sequences that fucks everything up, where you can't see what's going on. So now there's a glitch that happens here. I believe it's a glitch where the turret is firing at me from up here, and the bubbles are actually breaking through the wall, which is super fucking dangerous. They're not supposed to go through the wall like that. It makes it a lot more dangerous, but it is doable. Just got to dodge the flames. After you kill these turrets, make sure you're shooting up as you walk across to drop down, because these things are very dangerous. You got to kind of shoot the bubbles up. Now here I'm just focusing on trying to get down as fast as I can for the most part. I'm speeding down, not worrying about killing shit. Now kill the turret down here. Do some jumps and focus on the turret, and then take the walls out. And now take the turret take the turret below you. Make sure you clear that out first. Let the weapon disappear, so that you can focus on dodging this shitty sequence. So get to the edge here, jump, and then dash across the flames into the middle area, and then do it again. Now that part is a lot harder than it looks initially because you can't see shit. Now you got to be shooting up as you're running across. I don't know if you saw me doing that in the crystals. You got to be shooting up while you run across. As soon as the flame dissipates, dash. But that part can be very hard because you can't see what the fuck is going on. So you got to get used to how to move through there without dying. That's going to take a little practice. For this part, I just dash over the flames, and then I kind of just keep jumping and dashing, and I usually get across, even though I can't really see too well. That's one of the worst design parts of the game for me as well, because you can't really see what the fuck is going on. So I really didn't like that. I was losing a lot of lives on those parts initially, but you will learn it eventually. You just got to get a feel for how to move through there. Make sure you clear these enemies out best you can. You're also going to want to dodge a weapon pickup that's hidden between a gem. It's very annoying. So you're going to dash over that. See that weapon power up? You want to dash over it. Don't grab that. So now I'm showing my best run of this boss, which is a very quick kill. This is how it should go, but you can easily lose 2 or 3 lives here. So I try to get up close to it and just jam a bunch of bullets in. There's a few things that I will try to dodge, like I dodged this time, but a lot of times I don't even end up dodging a lot of the shit he does, and I'll usually take a few deaths. Now here it shows I have 1 life, but in my successful run of this stage I had a lot of lives here, like 3 or 4 maybe. So, you know, that was my strat, was getting to the main boss with a bunch of lives. So maybe I had 2 lives. I'm not sure. Maybe this is more accurate to what I had when I got here, but you know, either way, after this, it's very easy to get to the main boss. Just move slow, take out all the turrets and the golems. Just make sure you clear them all out. You may even earn a 1-up from doing all this shit, so it's good to try to clear them out. But yeah, I mainly just point blank that little mid-boss, and I usually do take a few deaths. That's probably why I had 2 lives, actually. I probably died a few times on my successful run of them, but I didn't show that. I showed a different run of the boss. But I think when I beat this stage legit, you know, actually completed the stage, I think I died a few times on that mini-boss. So that left me with 2 lives. So it's alright to lose a few lives on that. Just keep jamming that double spread shot, you know, into the boss, and he will die pretty fast. So for this guy, I get some free damage by shooting up at him, like, very briefly. And then I move to the left wall. Now, this was a tip that I got from one of my subscribers, so it's very helpful. I just kind of just stay on the wall. And I didn't really do much dodging. I just go up to the wall and just keep firing on him. I mean, I may dodge obvious shit, like those lasers when they get really close, I'll actually dodge it. But aside from that, I mean, I played pretty fucking sloppy. I didn't really learn this boss. So when he slaps the wall, you may want to jump away so that you don't get knocked off the wall. But I was able to just stay kind of between these lasers and just finish him off. Very easy. I would recommend getting to this boss with a few lives and have your double spread shot. Of course, this tutorial is with the perks enabled, so you shouldn't lose your weapons. So it's just a matter of getting the right loadout. And that's the hardest stage in the game, so I mean now, you know, you should be beating the game soon. That was definitely the hardest stage. Most pain in the ass stage for me. But you can see it's very playable if you just take it slow and be patient. You don't have to run through. The main idea is to try to clear shit out before you move forward, kind of inching the screen. It's tedious. It's a long stage. And for the bosses, you're pretty much just trying to jam bullets into them. And I don't do a lot of pattern memorization with those bosses, so you really don't need to. But you can try to learn them if you want. I mean, if you're going to do a 1 credit run, then you're going to want to learn all the bosses. Especially if you do the extreme mode, which I think is 1cc mode, but it's really expensive in the shop to unlock, so it's kind of a waste of time to have to grind to unlock a hard mode, which is, you know, kind of shitty. So here I have my double spread shot. I think this was the other stage that I beat on the first try. Yeah, I think so. I think this was one that I beat on the first try. So this was another easy stage like stage 5. Now, of course, I got the wrong weapon, which is always shitty. But it does happen. But yeah, and this stage is mainly just running to the right, maybe slowing down a little bit here and there. And you may want to know a few of the spawns, a few of the more dangerous spawns, but it's pretty damn easy. So I got hit by some dumb shit. I got blindsided. But up here is going to be 2 enemies that spawn, so you may want to wait down here and take them out first. See, there's another second one here. You want to at least get rid of that first one so you can pass safely. So for unlocking Browny, I think you might have to play as Lucia and beat this stage or maybe the last stage. I don't remember exactly how I unlocked them. But Browny, you can only use them in arcade mode, but Browny is worth unlocking if you want to make the game even easier with this method. Just use double homing. I might make a tutorial on that as well. I'm thinking of recording a commentary for that, maybe within the next few days. But yeah, very easy. Just take your time. Kind of not really taking too much of your time, just kind of running through. You don't want to just run blindly. You might want to stop a little bit here and there. So for this guy, I didn't really learn much of anything. I fucking took damage. I was just jamming spread shot into him and playing really sloppy again, like I did before, because he does die very quickly. So, you can either learn how to fight him or you can play like shit like I did and you'll be all right. Because you'll have enough lives to get through the stage. If you lose a few lives here, not a big deal. The main boss is going to go down pretty quick with double spread shot. So you don't have to be super efficient, and the rest of the stage is quite easy. It's even easier than the first half, if I remember right. At least I thought it was. This area is a little bit confined and a little denser than the rest of the stage, so I could see this being harder than the rest of the stage. But, as long as you take your... you have to move a little bit slower here and make sure you clear shit out, but... make sure you shoot behind you every once in a while, because those things do like to creep up from behind. They're fast, and they will kill you fast. So kill this thing from across the gap first, and now you can kind of, you can walk on your hands or you can just dash across. So for this part, I like to get all the way up on these top platforms. That's my goal. I think I paused the game. I had to make 2 recordings for this part. Yeah, I had it set to 4-minute recordings, and of course this stage is longer than 4 minutes. I forgot to plug my external hard drive in, so I edited down that pause menu. So here I like to stay up on the top. And just make sure you clear shit out and just keep moving across and try to stay on the platforms. Well, obviously you kind of have to stay on the platforms for this part. I was thinking of another part, which I'll show in a moment. You don't have that much of a choice here, but I like to stay up near the top still, even in this part. I prefer staying up at the top and not riding on the platforms too much. I'd rather just try to clear out most of the shit. But my goal is to try to stay up on those upper platforms the whole time. So you see I'm staying up here. It makes it very easy. Now if you do need a spread shot, you can go down there and try to grab it, but hopefully you don't need it. Hopefully you already have it. Kill this thing below you, and then you can drop down safely. Not too bad. Just avoid the weapon pickup. So now we have the main boss coming up. Now initially on my Series X, I had the game crash every time I got to this boss on my normal mode playthrough. Very fucking annoying. But I deleted the game and reinstalled it and didn't have that problem again. So again, we're just point blanking this guy with some minimal dodging. I try to dodge what I can dodge, but I really didn't learn this, so I just play it sloppy. I stay offset a little bit to the side because I know he's going to do a laser. So, and the spread shot does clear out a lot of the slime that he shoots. And that's pretty much it. It dies very fast. You see how fast the spread shot, the double spread shots, they're like 2 level 2 spread shots with weapon swapping. It really shreds shit. I unlocked some shit, but yeah, so next up is the final stage. And the final stage wasn't easy. The final stage was one of the harder ones, but not that hard. The final stage took me... Actually, it was one of the easier of the hard stages, so it only took me 43 minutes. Not too bad. So it was a pretty, relatively quick finish to the game. So again, you can see the perks that I've been using. So this is the only part of the game that has a checkpoint on hard mode. Really, like, hard mode is a little bit more aggressive, but enemies don't really seem to have more health or anything, and I didn't notice a huge difference in difficulty, aside from the fact that they removed the checkpoints. So, like, that was the main extra challenge about hard mode. But here, obviously, I don't have the weapons I want right now, so the best loadout I can get here, I think, is a spread and a homing, so that's what I go with. I got to reconfigure everything, as you see me doing here, toggling off the auto weapon swap. So then for this guy, you have 4 lives to just fucking just jam bullets into him. And it doesn't matter if you die as long as you complete it. So I didn't learn how to fight this guy at all. I just pretty much point blanked him. I might jump occasionally, but that was about it. I really didn't learn how to fight this guy. But after you beat this guy, you get the checkpoint. So it's like you don't need to do well. You just need to beat him. He does take a lot of shots, though. Definitely a pain in the ass. But you could easily scrape through by playing sloppy, like you see me do there. So it's not bad. Of course, that shit's not going to fly if you're doing like a 1cc run or something, but. So now we got our checkpoint for the stage. Now, if you shut the game off, I don't know if it saves this checkpoint. I always ran the game in suspend mode, like I would have it at quick resume on the Xbox. So I could just, go back to wherever I was last. Worst case, you'll have to beat that boss again, which is super easy, so that's easy shit. So here I'm trying to get double spread shot. And I'm just kind of like, I'm clearing out everything for a reason. So sometimes you'll see me stop and kill certain enemies. Like here, I'm going to, shoot up and take out some of these like floating things that are spinning. Because those things will constantly follow you for the whole stage. Or for a very long time if you don't clear them out. So you got to kill them pretty much. So everything is very specific. You see me like killing and moving in a certain way. There's really not much to explain about it except like, look at what I'm doing and, if you're having trouble, try to follow that routine. I like to move through here pretty quick. The blades will kill you, but it seems like as long as you're not near the point of the blade, it seems like it won't kill you. It seems like only the tip of the blades kill you, but I could be wrong about that, but you can jump through them, so that's usually what I do. You might want to clear out some of those pods. Here I like to kind of crouch and dash almost at the same time. Like I dash out of a full prone position. Like when the spikes are coming down, I go prone completely. And then the spike can't hit me. And as it's coming up, I dash. And I kind of just move through quickly like that. I just do it very fast. Now here I usually get a 1-up. So that's helpful. Make sure you kill that thing before you go on that platform. Wait for the spike and then move, but at the same time, you're going to fire off 1 or 2 shots to push these things back. So you got to do that, periodically. You're going to have to fire a shot or 2 to move those things back. But you don't have to keep firing. You only do it when they're about to hit you or when you have a chance to get rid of them. But for the most part, you want to keep moving and just fire a few shots here and there to push those things back. So take this thing out. Now just dash to the wall and climb up. That one usually would get me, but I got better at it later, but a lot of times I'd get hit by that top one. But now you just want to make it up here. And the most confusing part about this is it's kind of like a little bit of a maze with dead ends, when you first get here until you know a route. So I didn't do the best movement through here, but I'm going to recommend doing something similar. You can see the platforms I'm jumping on. Don't jump around in here. But you'll see when I move, I get it correct in a moment. So now is how you want to actually do the stage, I think. It wasn't the cleanest, but you can see the route. So just do it faster because I still didn't have the route down memorized at this point. It's easy to get stuck there and then you get killed by the the acid. So it's really just memorizing your movement. It's really not that hard, though, I don't think. It's just some dodging some obstacles, make sure you're clearing shit out. But it is the most aggressive stage as far as the amount of enemies, for sure. And there's a lot of traps, but the traps really aren't as bad as the 6th stage, which is really fucking annoying. It was mainly those areas where I can't see shit in the 6th stage that really fucked with me. And then I would die trying to I'd get blindsided trying to reconfigure my weapon loadouts. It would like happen to me like almost every time. It was very fucking annoying. So here we got the spread homing combo, which is a very good combo. It's just not as good as double spread shot, which is what I'm going for here. So now I'm reconfiguring my loadout. I'm setting it up so that I can pick up what I want. So I got double spread shot. Now I got to dodge the weapon pickups. Don't want any of that shit. So this boss can be very easy now with this setup. With double spread shot, you can really shred him. So you want to kind of stand to the outer edge of each hand whenever you're on one of the hands. You stand kind of to the outer edge of it and shoot straight up at the eye. See, I didn't even have to stand on the edge of the hand there because it died so fast. But you want to jam all your spread shot ammo with the weapon swapping like right up into the eyeball. Try to get all the streams into the eye. That kills it the fastest. If you can get all 4 or 5 streams of spread, you know, I think it's 5 streams. If you can get them all in there, you'll kill it really fast. Now, when I was trying to cross over, I got killed by the worm, but now I think I was pretty much safe for the rest of the fight. That's it, and this is the final phase. I found a safe spot here at the edge of this hand. You'll see I don't even have to do anything, really. I think I jumped a few times, but I didn't even need to do that. I could have just stood here. So this may be a safe spot for that final phase. So try standing there and doing what I did there. Just make sure you bring double spread shot to the boss. And I recommend doing that. And that's pretty much it. Now, if I ever do any harder runs of the game, you know, like 1cc or the extreme modes or anything, I'll definitely make separate tutorials. This shows all my stats with the deaths, the time it took on each stage. It says 3 hours, 9 minutes on the 6th stage, but, you know, of course, my recordings have, like, little pause breaks, so that's why I said 3 hour 20. But, yeah, I mean, if I do any more runs, I will definitely do some more tutorials if there are harder runs, you know. But this one was pretty hard, you know, taking around 6 hours and 8 minutes. So, I mean, it definitely wasn't easy, even with the perks. I'm definitely going to do a review of the game soon, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.